Time is now 6:30. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Before we get started, we're going to have Councilwoman Spruill lead us in prayer. Please remain standing for the pledge. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Item 1 on the agenda is to consider approval of minutes of June 21, 2022 meeting and June 28, 2022 budget workshop. If the council has had time to review, floor is open for a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes of the June 21st meeting and the June 28th budget workshop as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Councilman Dale, second by Councilman Chappelle. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimous. We'll now move on to item 2. Item 2 is to consider award of bid for Mount Pleasant Regional Airport Southwest Site Development.
Mayor and council, we went out for bids to develop the next 5 lots for corporate hangars in the corporate air park, and it's the last 5 lots in the corporate air park. But we think we got a good bid, and the lowest bidder was H.H. Hire and Sons for $131,142.50.
And we have a grant to pay 100,000 of that, right?
Paul, how many more hangars will this be?
This will be 5 more hangars, 5 more corporate size hangars, bigger hangars. Yeah.
You needed them yesterday, I'm sure.
I've got 2 fellas that are real interested in building, so we may have 3 before this year's over with.
So Paul, is there a minimum and maximum square footage on those hangars, or do they all have to be at least of the same equal size? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, the size, we used to be 60 by 60, but it seems like the aircraft have got a little bit larger than when we come on the field, and 70 by 70 is the minimum size. So from there up, ideally I think 75 by 75.
And do we have restrictions on the exterior, the cosmetics, the way it looks, colors, et cetera, what type of metal, trim, all that?
Yeah, we have to approve the sheet metal, and it's kind of one shade on one side of the field on the corporate, on the T-hanger side, and on the corporate it's a little different.
Just for the public, the Howard brothers have done a lot of projects for the city over the years and always done a good job, and I think we've always been pleased with everything they've done over the years.
They really have. They do really good work. You bet.
Thank you, Paul. We appreciate that. With that being said, we'll go ahead and open the floor for a motion.
I'll move award of a bid in the regional airport Southwest site development to H.H. Howard and Son.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Councilman Adams, second by Councilman Chappelle. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimous. Again, thank you, Paul.
Appreciate your grandson being here and kind of helping you through this, keeping an eye on you. You acted a little bit better tonight, I have to say.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close item 2. Item 3 on the agenda would be consider approval of rejecting bids for street lights project and returning bid bond. Is Laney, okay, I didn't see you hiding back there, Laney.
Thank you, Council, Mayor, and City Manager for allowing me to be here. What you got before you is we have bid, a streetlight project, to go along, Madison and Jefferson and a little bit of additional work on Second and Third Streets. The bids came in much higher than we anticipated, and we only got one bid. It was $500,000 we had bid it out in 2 phases. It was $500,000 each phase. That's significantly more than the resources that we had at the time, and we've got another project coming along behind that we're worried about going over too, so we're recommending rejecting these bids at this time.
Mayor and Council, as you know, the whole project that we were gonna do, we thought would cost about $300,000 a year and a half ago. And remember, a year ago, last Christmas, we got started, and there was, the contractor felt like he needed a little more money to do it, and so we just had him stop, because we didn't want it torn up during Christmas, and then we came forward this year, and it turned out that, with the price increasing, what we thought we could do for 300 is now $1 million. We split it in two and said, let's do one year and one the next. And when it came back at 500, I called Lanny and said, Lanny, we're supposed to split those. We're not supposed to be. And he said, no, that's one half of the thing. So we've got a grant project on Jefferson from 3rd to 4th Street, and then from 4th on over to Madison, so 2 blocks. And we're getting ready to bid that out. We have $350,000 for that bid, and we felt like we have 200 that we thought would do half of this. So we're gonna keep that money in case we have to come up with more to do that. We wanna do the grant bid, and so we're gonna save the money for that, and we'll go back to the drawing board. And the sad part about it is we've got a block on Jefferson between 2nd and 3rd that's not gonna be done. Then we'll pick up there, so we do need to close that at some time, so. Anyway, we recommend we reject all bids.
Hey, Lanny, looking at this between phase 1 and phase 2, I was looking at, is it a total of 29 lamp posts or lights that were gonna be done between both phases?
Yes, and we bought the material. So this bid is not to buy the lights and the material, it's just to install it. So we've got the lights in stock, but we think we need to reject them.
Yeah, I did rough math. That's almost $35,000 a light just to install one light. That's a lot of money.
That's why I'm standing before you right now, recommending this. We do have some of the lights. We don't have every one of them, but the installation for the lights themselves was outrageous in some respects for today and time, and the boring cost was also similar.
We're on state highways, so the cost of board things is a problem.
And then one other thing I noticed real quick though was like on under here where it says street light assembly, between phase 1 and phase 2, the unit cost per assembly is totally different. Phase 1, it's over $12,300. Phase 2, it's $7,480. So I don't know why the assembly is any less.
That's because we have some of the material already in-house. I think they put it together. I can't answer exactly how they did it, but I think that's what happened.
Just for the public, the electrical improvements was $126,000 on one and nearly $86,000 on another. You know, I mean, that's you're talking about over $200,000 for just electrical improvements alone.
That's exactly why you're here, right? That's why your recommendation is what it is. Thank you, Lenny. We appreciate it. Floor is open for a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion that we approve this, rejecting the bids for the street light project and returning the bid bond as presented by Lanny with the KSA. I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Councilman Dale, second by Councilman Walker. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Lanny, we appreciate you, watching over these, and any time that you feel that it's inappropriate and the funding is astronomical for you to, not to hesitate to come to us, because we have to know that we rely on you to let us know when these things are way out of line like this, so thank y'all for that.
So thank you, but this one was pretty easy.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and close that item and move on to our next, which is, item 4, consider approval of final pay request for the Basin M sewer line improvements from ASB Utility Construction.
Once again, thank you for allowing me to be here. What you have before you is the,
Hey, Council, you probably noticed this is not Brittany.
I figured that was very obvious. Yeah, no. So what you have before you is the Basin M closeout documents. What we did is we did a reconciliatory change order, which we bid a lot of this project out per unit cost or per foot or whatever it was, as well as we had some miscellaneous allowance money that we had in the project. We had some of that remaining, and some of the unit cost had some reductions to them. So there was a little bit of money coming back, but we did take the retainage, put that back in for the final number. And what you have before you is the final pay estimate of $112,894.45.
So Lanny, with this sewer project, is the overall sewer portions that were upgraded or had improvements done, are they working per the design? Do you see that it's doing what we expect it to do with room to grow?
Marion Council? Yes, sir, as of right now, all the sewer lines that have been put in and replaced are working very well for us. We even discovered a creek crossing that had been leaking a little bit, not bad, and we got that all fixed too. So we're in really good shape.
I thought Anthony would add it, but one of the things that was in that area was it had a lot of high groundwater. Groundwater table was pretty high there, and so a lot of that water was going down the old sewer lines. We know that because when we cut them, it kept filling up with water. So we think we've definitely done some good in those areas.
Where is this primarily located, this part of it?
You would ask that question. That's why Brittany was.
Primary was south side of town, what we looked at to get the sewer lines done. And then on Alexander Road was one of the big issues that we found one of the manholes that was on the main 27-inch line that just completely collapsed. So that's where it was.
So is this the area up and down forward through Delwood Park and over in there?
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
The line that we took through down Ferguson, we did some repair of one down through Ferguson and tied in with that last year that had to do with her business. Sorry.
I'm not sure that was in this project. That was a different one that we done in-house that we fixed, I do believe. Yes, sir, we did.
You said that, went down Alexander and we found a manhole cover that where was that manhole cover located at?
It's out in the pasture. It's kind of hard to tell you. I'm not sure. I can't remember the people's name, but they got a real nice house on the left-hand side. It used to be where the old lift state, the old sewer plant used to be at. One of the original ones, and it was one of those manholes. The way they designed those manholes years ago, they didn't put no wire in them. They just put cement in them, and it just caved in over time.
Did KSC design that?
That was before my time, but I can't answer that.
A lot of the streets that you have, this council has complained about over time, down Flory and Alexander and everything like that, that's where all this was.
Also, you may notice that imagine some of you have noticed that the street is pretty rough. They've fixed it. We had some gas lines also done down there, but the street's pretty rough. And the plan is later, hopefully this summer, we can mill it down and put a new asphalt on top of it.
Right, we're wanting to do that as part of this, as a change order to the pavement rehabilitation project we just did. We had money left over, so we're gonna try to straighten all that up, because there was more than one contractor in there. It's definitely a mess.
Well, thank you, Lanny, we appreciate it. Okay, council, we're gonna go ahead and open the floor for a motion on this item at this time.
I'll move the final pay request, for Basin M sewer line improvements, by ASB Utility Construction, $112,894.45.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Councilman Adams, second by Councilman Dale. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. We'll now close item 4 on the agenda. Our next item, item 5, is to consider approval of pay request from W.M. Miller Construction Company Incorporated for 24-inch water line replacement on the I-30 plant to EWT.
Mayor and council, what you have before you is the pay request for Miller Construction for the 24-inch water line, I-30 plant, the OLED water tank. The financial impact is $220,182.34, and this had to do with some boring and some piping and some materials on hand.
Lanny, what's the status on the percentage of completion on this project?
So I don't have that right in front of me right now. For some reason, my copy didn't have the pay estimate in there that I thought. That's why I was frantically looking a while ago, hoping to find that, but I didn't. I can answer that next time if you don't mind.
Are we within budget on it?
We are within budget, and I actually asked Brittany about this today, and she said that things were moving along at the pace they should be right now. They're a little bit slow as far as starting some of the work there at the tank itself, but we're moving along.
You're satisfied with it to this point, you and Anthony?
Yes, sir, we're satisfied with this. We went back and forth 3 or 4 times to get to this point.
Okay, council, we have any further questions? Okay, we'll open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve pay request from W.M. Miller Construction Company Incorporated for the 24-inch water line replacement, I-30 plant to EWT.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Councilman Chappelle, second by Councilman Adams. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 We have a unanimous vote on this item, and we'll go ahead and close it at this time. Our next item is public comments. If we have anyone in the public that would like to come up and speak, please come up. You can limit to 2 minutes. Please express your concerns. Let us know what your name is and address. Thank you. Sir, could I get you to mash that button? You're gonna have to hold it during the duration.
I have 2 things I'd like to comment on. One is your code enforcement. I have property in Fort Worth, and there are restaurants in Fort Worth, plus people selling barbecue without license and everything else. Jimmy Vaughn, Mount Pleasant, and Brookwood, Southgate. Anyway, your code enforcement holds very high standards versus what Fort Worth, Texas does. There's a lot of restaurants up there I'd be afraid to go eat at, because I don't think they'd pass the state code. That I'm through with that. Now I'd like to complain and ask a question about, 2 years ago, I asked about getting another cable company in here, because the cable bill was getting ridiculous. While I was in Fort Worth remodeling my house, I received this Spectrum, $44.99. That includes 200 megabytes per second internet, and I'm sure it's the entry level cable TV. Well, my bill had almost doubled, and I hadn't changed a thing. It went from $150 to $189, and earlier this year it went from $206, and 3 months later it goes to $226, and last month it went to $246. What are they doing? They're not doing anything. They won't provide a service. You can't get a hold of the people. They'll get nasty with you, and they do not service what they got. You're going to have to do something for the people of Mount Pleasant where they have a decent cable company that's competitive with the rest of them. So with that, I've got details here, but I don't think you really want to hear all the details. I talked to Galen one day at work, and he's aware of what I'm talking about. So where we stand? I asked you almost 2 years ago that what we're going to do.
I know I'm putting up with the same thing, and the service is real bad. Kerry, I don't know how long ago, but we used to hold their franchise agreement and approve it and so forth. But I don't believe we have that. The law changed, and we really don't have any regulation over them anymore.
It's been many years ago when we lost a lot of our authority on them. It's preempted by the FCC. So basically what you're looking at with them is just what we get from our franchise, right away stuff. And that's been a number of years ago, and we all lamented that fact when we lost it. At the very least, council ought to make some of them come up here we've done that in years past. Of course, they had some local representation, but made them come at least explain some of these, these complaints or whatever. And I'll admit, we may be, a lot of it's bully pulpit, but it's worth something. You've got all kinds of advisory boards and things. It may be time to at least make them come forward and make some explanation on these things.
Mr. Vaughn mentioned that you can't get a hold of anybody. There's nobody here anymore. So I don't know. I know we can go to the next level up and stuff. We could ask them to come, but I'm not sure. We can try, but I don't know. I know you've written them a couple of letters since that first complaint. Kerry's written them a couple of letters, and we don't seem to get any response.
It's just the problem with that. That's what I was going to say. Without some physical presence here, I don't know that they're going to pay a whole lot of attention. And I'm not telling you they will then, because I thought that was a sad day when we got preempted, but we did. We just did. And that's been several years ago. And that's where we are.
I know when you came last time, Jimmy, I followed up with Ed and Kerry both for us to send letters to the higher ups within the company, and hopefully just to get their attention to see that you're not near the only one. I've had a number of people, and I mean we're all in this room the same way. I think it's terrible. The service is terrible. No place here local. I mean, I feel like we're being treated absolutely as second class here. It's like you either use us or don't. We don't care, and so we need to follow up with them, and that's a good idea to see if we can get their attention, and if I don't know that we can demand it, but we can highly recommend that they send someone here, that the citizens are in an uproar over it, and I think I'm fair by saying that overall, and get them here and ask questions to them and let them know that we mean business, and we're paying no doubt higher than what, others, I don't know about Tyler, Longview, those areas, but I know they do have an area that you can go and carry a box back or whatever. And here, all you can do is call, and I've been in the same situation a couple of months ago. You called and, absolutely, couldn't at a call center probably in the Philippines, and they could care less if, you was who and in what town. They didn't even know where Texas was, I don't think, much less Mount Pleasant.
Well, if you'll call, they'll try to sell you fiber optic, and you do not have fiber optic in Mount Pleasant to this day, and that is false advertisement. And I can get them on that, and I know y'all can. Gary's a lawyer. I know he can do something about it. Because you can't false advertise something, promise you something, then charge you an arm and a leg for it. This is what they're doing. They're charging you an arm and a leg, and if you don't like it, you do without. I have one lady that works for me. She was paying $380 a month. Her son passed away, and they had the faster internet. She tried to reduce it, and it was more than she's paying now. That's not right. Y'all gonna have to do something about it.
I have a follow-up question, just a general question, Mr. Vaughn, too. The gurus, what does it take to get a competitor into a city? What has to happen to get another option in? I don't know.
Well, I'll say this, and then I think Henry probably knows more about getting a competitor in here than anybody does. But thank you for your words on code enforcement. We do have a very strong code enforcement on our restaurants, and because I have to deal with them, I know how they are. But I appreciate it. It means that we're going to do it right or we're not going to do it. So I appreciate that, and thank you for your kind words on that. I spoke to on the Suddenlink. Actually, I had a gentleman come by my business, representing himself as the business satisfaction supervisor for this area. Okay, so basically, it's a new hired position. That's what he told me. I told him that he had a whole lot of work to do, because I said not only do I own a business here, but I'm on the city council, and I said we have numerous complaints, and I said you're gonna have to do something. And the way I understand it, I'm not sure when or what, but the way I understand it, they are going to open this office back up out here, which would at least give you somebody you could speak with. And so with that said, I told him, I did express to him, I said, I don't know what you can do about it, but you have a lot of unsatisfied customers. And I said, your phone tree is the worst in the world to talk to, because you can't get through to anybody. But anyway, with that said, and I told you that People's was available to business, and I think you said you knew that at this point. But maybe, I don't know, Henry, can we go to People's and ask them, what their interest possibility is? Could we gather up a petition and say, hey, these are the people that are unsatisfied with Suddenlink, and can we provide you with a petition of people that are willing to sign up today and encourage you to go into residential? I'm gonna let you go with that.
Well, I have people that our place business, and we don't have any problem. We got excellent service. I talked to them while they was installing. They do not do television at all. They do telephone and internet, and that's it.
Well, just at a really high level, so the advantage that Suddenlink currently has over any other any other carrier that would want to come in here, Suddenlink already has infrastructure. Okay, so that's the biggest advantage that Suddenlink already has over anybody else. And their infrastructure is mainly the coax cable, to your point. That Suddenlink has fiber, but they only have fiber to some business clients, but no residentials. Also, it's very hard for someone like Peoples to compete with Suddenlink's plans when he shows like $44 as their base plan. That's like the hook, line, and sinker to get you in. But still, that's a rate plan that they have. That's a valid rate plan they have in their system, and so that's how they get the customer base. Right, so if someone like Peoples wants to come in, which I would love for them to come in, their biggest challenge, number one, is they got to figure out what would the take rate be. Are we gonna have a take rate of 50%, 75%, 100%? But they gotta know what that is, because they got a lot of CapEx, a lot of capital expense to come in to build out infrastructure, and it would be fiber. Because Peoples already has over 150 business customers alone right here in Mount Pleasant today. So I've already been in talks with them. They're having internal talks. I don't know where this is gonna go. Like I said, maybe we gotta get back with them as a council, as a city, and see if a petition would help. But when I talked to them last, the biggest thing is for them to be able to build a business model that can justify the cost to come in here, because it would still take months and months and months just to get the infrastructure in here before you could even get their service. But I'm all for that. It's just a matter of figuring out what we gotta do to get the wheels moving on that. But that's at a real high level. So whether it was Peoples or AT&T or Verizon or anybody else, they don't have the infrastructure here. AT&T has some infrastructure, but it's the old copper cable. That's all going away. You don't want to get on copper, because you'll be lucky if you can even get a connection to the internet. And to your point about Peoples, the reason they're not offering cable is because everybody's streaming now. So as long as you can get their internet and get a good high-speed internet, you can buy these streaming packages all day long and still get pretty much the cable channels you're used to watching today on Suddenlink, along with your local channels.
And suddenly internet, and then it's hard to stream.
Well, it might take just as long for them to put the cable in as it does them to finish Highway 49.
Now, when 49's done, we're all gonna be real proud of it, I know.
Thank you, Mr. Vine. Do we have anyone else that would like to speak at this time? Okay, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and move on to city manager's report, item 7.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Perla Ayala. Stand up, Perla. Perla's been here since early this morning, working hard, and even stayed the night her first day at work. She's our new HR manager, director, and she's gonna work with Cheryl. Cheryl's will be leaving the end of this fiscal year, so the end of on September 30. So she'll be here 3 months working with Perla. So we welcome her. We're excited that she's here. Like to mention, since I mentioned Cheryl, her husband's younger brother passed away today, and so she'll be out probably the rest of this week. But just so you know that. Also, there's our next council meeting is July 9th. That's July 19th, 2 weeks from today, and we've got. I don't know how many of you are going to be here. I know there's 1 or 2 that's not going to be here. We have some major issues. It'd be good to have everybody here. Is anybody interested in moving it 1 week? We have 5 Tuesdays, or we could go to the 4th Tuesday, and do it on the, what is that, the 26th?
I think that'd be a good idea if there's gonna be, I think we need full council representation here, but go ahead, Anthony.
I also have the consumer confidence report that's gotta be done on the 19th. TCEQ regulations, sorry.
We've got annexation. It's on that date. We can't back off on that date. It's in motion, and it has to be done within a certain period of time. So that's in there. We also, over the course of today, I'm working on the plat that's coming in for our restaurant, Chick-fil-A plat. I've got it completed, and it's going to be on the 19th for approval. Yeah. And there's a street closing too. That we were partial street closing that was going to be on there. But those 2 items are, I would assume, they're pretty important.
Let me just ask if what I'm thinking, what we could do is, we have to do this on the 19th. We could meet and have a couple of things. But then those issues, we need the whole council. Would you mind coming back the week after on the 26th to do them or not?
No, I think that's fine. I think it'll be fine as long as everybody else can make it.
Jerry doesn't look convinced. All right, you,
19th will just be a couple of items that have to be on the annexation, strictly a couple of items that we won't have any executive session or anything like that concerning anything. And move that to the 26th then. Do we need a motion concerning that, or?
well, no, you guys have said it, so we'll go ahead and, we'll put out the posting for the meeting, and then you guys just go. Everybody could come that night, we'll do it.
Anything further, Ed?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and then close the city manager's report, item 7. At this time, the floor will be open for a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn. I will second that.
Council is adjourned.